Hello, today we will talk about the factors of acquisition of a language. We have five factors for acquisition of a second language. The first factor is interlanguage and phonology. The terms interlanguage can be seen to apply in two cases, synchronic and diachronic. Synchronic is the state of the learner's system at a given point in a time, and diachronic meaning the development of intermediate systems over the time. The interlanguage can be seen as a variable point along a continuum between the native language and the target language, while being distinct from both of these. And the idea that a development is a linear and progressive is meddling as a various points in the development. The learning may presume the features of the first language and take a specific form when in fact the rule is applicable only under the certain constraints. And the second factor that I have is phonology and the monitor approach. Phonology is the study of the patterns of sounds in a language and across language. And the monitor hypothesis is the theory about the input hypothesis of a second language acquisition. The monitor hypothesis describes a way to communicate with a monitor with correct the form we apply the knowledge of a new language, and it helps us to produce speeches as if we could use not mother tongue and second language. Acquisition and learning a second language have a different process. The ability to produce the language and the natural interactions comes from the acquired competence, from the conscious knowledge. As we can clearly see, learning is a process of conscious knowledge, and the competence we apply when we learn a second language is based on memorization and comprehension of certain rules. And we have three conditions to apply the monitor hypothesis in a new learning system. We have time, focus on form, and know the rule. And the third factor is phonological and sociological. Phonological and sociological factors affecting pronunciation. And why it is important pronunciation? So pronunciation is important because pronunciation conveys the oral message in such a way that it can make it easier or harder for the listener to recognize the words. And I have advantages and disadvantages of pronunciation. One of the advantages is improves listening and speaking. Grading skills, key factor in achieving intelligibility and on a different level. And other disadvantages is psychological problems like anxiety, other learning helplessness, and other cultural identity. Psychological factors are shyness, anxiety, unmotivation, unconfident, and sociological factors are native language, age, exports, innate phonetic ability, identifying language ego, and motivation and concern for good pronunciation. Other factor is communication and contextualization in language learning. What is the role of communication in language learning? Without communication, learning cannot happen. English learners with significant cognitive disabilities, communication may look different. Language may also manifest somewhat differently in this population, but its structure and consistent shading meaning allow for more complex through the learning. and how language affect communication. So some people speaking the same language can have difficult understanding each other, and if they are from different regions of the same country, and dialectional and accents difference, the use of slang and regional colloquialisms can create numerous problems that may lead to misunderstanding and gaps in communication. And I have some points to improve communication skills. The first one, you need to listen. Listen and listen. And the second one, practice. You need to practice every day. The third one, body language. 4, be brief yet specific. Write things down. Don't be shy. Think before you speak. And what are the models of contextualization? So models of contextualizations abound effective. Contextualization is relational, reflective, and continuous historical exercise. In contextualization, language tries to give a real communicate to value the language that our learners meet. And for the last part for this topic is we have 3 steps in contextualization. That was embedding students into the lesson, making the connection, and then ensuring the academic goal was met. And the last one factor is phonology and behaviorism. So we already know what is phonology, but we don't know what is behaviorism. So behaviorism is a theory mainly applicable to the acquisition of native language. This learning theory states that behaviors are learning from the environment, and says that innate or inherent factors have very little influence on behavior. In the acquisition of phonology, it is the process whereby children acquire the target language's phonology. This including its functional aspects like the language-specific sounds construct. However, in the whole acquisition process, not only a set of phonological rules and chronologically acquired, but also a set of morphological and syntactical and semantic rules. And the behaviorist and foreign language teaching methodology is the influence of this theory can be seen in the implementation of teaching learning process using grammar translation. The abbreviation is JTM, or direct method DM. And this is what a bit of the factors, and I hope you like it and learning a little more from this topic.